G'day. It's time to down your unders. Review and dissection of content from some of the sharpest minds in the game. Hosted by Adam Camilleri. Art of War. Down Under.
G'day, our lovely denizens of the 41st millennium. Welcome to the second week of the Aeldari Codex review. And just by the way that they designed this codex and the order they put them in, this week is going to be kind of wilder than last week. Last week was pretty wild, but it was just like conventional Eldar good stuff all the way down. Now things get a bit more rocky. Harlequins, Ynnari, and one of the best attachments in the book, and another one that's very, very relevant, possibly, especially if some little changes happen. But I'm joined once again by the beautiful, wonderful, effervescent Quinton Johnson. Even though his hair isn't effervescent at the moment, he is on the inside anyway. Hello, sir.
Hello, I'm excited to be back, and I'm excited to be here and talk about it because in the 1 week since I recorded the last episode, my opinions on this book have changed fairly dramatically. So,
with a book this deep,
yeah,
and one that didn't like, so it wasn't like with Renegade Raiders, right? Like Renegade Raiders came out in like a 6 or 7 detachment book and was like obviously the best way to play singles 40k in that book, and it wasn't really up for debate. This one has been debated far and wide. We even made some predictions on I believe on the part 2 of last week's show, where we said that, when people get enough experience with this book, the best attachment might surprise you. And over on part 2, we're going to be, and probably on this one as well, we're going to be telling you what has changed in Quinton's estimation, because he has broken through the 20 game mark with this book now.
Yeah, we hit 20, and I've done more work on testing different attachments, and I've been shockingly surprised by some.
What's the clickbait catchphrase? The result may surprise you.
The result may surprise you, yeah.
This one shocking detachment.
I tested all 9 Eldari detachments. The result may shock you.
Anyway, we're going to record a part 2 as well, of course, and it's going to be very extensive this week because for the first time ever, I've gotten way more patron questions for the second week of review than the first week. So come over and join that goodness. Get involved. That's Art of War Down Under over on Patreon. I have had quite a few people in the last couple of months, especially in this month, signing up for the Art of War Patreon, the vanilla Nick Nadavati's show, and then asking where's my show, thinking that they've signed up to mine. So if that is you, I do apologize. If you have signed up for Nick's show and you wanted to sign up for mine, you hit me up, you slide into my DMs, and if you signed up for a particular, like one in particular show, likely I'll just download that show, put it into Google Doc, and just give it to you, because Art of War is like that, and we never want to burn a customer. To get my show, it's not Art of War on Patreon, it's Art of War Down Under on Patreon. So just to save you any confusion. And that's because this show takes a lot every week. I never not put out a show, and it's hopefully it's worth your money. But anyway, Quinton, how is that Aeldari group coaching going? You got any tickets left?
We do. We are starting to run out, though. It's selling like hotcakes, and I'm not sure exactly how many more spots we're going to fill, but it's not going to be a lot. So
get in if you are at all interested. Where can they find that?
So you can find that on, I think, just our website, or if you peruse our YouTube channel, there'll be a bunch of social posts, and you can click links there.
Easy.
So just artofwar40k.com.
All right, for anybody joining us in post who may have this codex in their hot little hands, you'll be rejoining this review at page 110, Ghosts of the Freaking Webway. This is the Harlequin detachment. And the detachment rule is as thus: Acrobatic Onslaught. Each time a Harlequin's model from your army makes a charge move, it can move through enemy models. And then you have the Traveling Players rules. Troop units from your army gain the battle line keyword, and troop models in those units have an objective control of 2. So they act like, a normal battle line unit would. In addition, you can include up to 3 of each of the following models in your army: Death Jester, Shadow Seer, Troop Master. So, the rules that you would require to make a 2,000 point Harlequin's army. How's this detachment rule go, though? Because this is niche, but very Harlequins.
It's very Harlequins. I think, weirdly enough, like the Wraith detachment, the first part is not that strong, right? It might come up once a game if you're looking for it. The bigger, more important one actually is buried in there. It's that you can take 3 Troop Masters.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. And you will require those to make your Harlequin units relevant
Yes.
a lot of the time and to be your enhancement caddies. What is the first of the enhancements, mate?
First one is Segaratch's Coil, Troopmaster only. Each time the bear's unit ends a charge move, select one enemy unit within engagement range of the bear's unit, and then roll 1d6 for each model in the bear's unit that is within engagement range of that enemy unit. For each 4+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound to a maximum of 6 mortal wounds.
Do not hate it.
No, so there are 2 good use cases for this. The first one is on just like a regular 6-man, and you say, I'm paying the points for this, my unit's going to get out, throw a grenade, it's going to charge you and do another grenade.
Yeah,
and
correct.
It's basically
exactly
just 6 mortals before I hit you.
Yeah.
The other use case for this is you put it in a troop match with a 12-man, and you say, I'm going to charge you and do 12 mortals. Or 6 mortals. Like
6 mortals, yeah. Yeah, after you throw a grenade and then go in, you'll do like 9. And that is kind of terrifying. That's like, oh, cool, I hit you with a shuriken pistol and now plus my 9 wounds, your transport is dead. And I'm probably going to be able to tap the contents and kill it as well because I got a 12-man spread out on the charge.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Talking about I should have talked about the detachment rule a little bit more because what I love about it is that it means screening is very unconventional versus Harlequins. You need to screen their movement phase, not their charge phase.
So another really interesting thing also is that the Harlequins are still on 25s, so they're like real small,
real tiny.
And then the flip belts let them ignore vertical terrain.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're playing on a format that lets you 1-inch the walls, you can like just walk up the wall in your charge phase.
Up and over.
Yeah, correct. So like if you're 8 inches horizontally, but they're 1-inching the wall, it's kind of weird because like you can't really 1-inch 25s, but like if you can, because the wall is really thick or something like that, you can just be like, okay, I'm going to go 8 inches and I'm just going to go up on top of the wall and fight you down.
Yeah, that is super cute.
Yeah, it's cute, but it's sometimes relevant.
Absolutely. The next enhancement is Mask of Secrets, Harlequin's model only. Each time an enemy unit that isn't a monster or vehicle within engagement range of the bearer's unit fall back, they must take a desperate escape. Of course, they're battle shocked. They will die on 1, 2, 3, and they will be deaded. I'm not sure how much I like this one, but it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. What's next?
Murderer's Jest, Death Jester model only. Each time the bear makes an attack that targets a unit below half strength, each successful hit roll scores a critical hit. Notably, the Death Jester still has sustained hit 3.
I wish it was below starting strength. Below half strength is like not going to happen that often. Doesn't happen that often. You're below half strength. If you're below half strength, you're probably dead.
So that's very true. That being said, Harlequins are a unique army in that they don't do like 4 activations that do a lot of damage.
Correct.
They do like 20 activations that don't do a lot of damage, right? So what you can do is if you jump your opponent, you're like, I'm going to shoot 1 boat. I'm going to shoot 1 boat. I'm going to shoot 1 boat. Oh, 3 of your Marines are dead. Death Jester finishes you off.
Yeah, but that's only like in a 5-man, that's a Death Jester to kill 2 Marines.
Yeah,
which the Death Jester might have done regardless if it was the first thing to activate.
The better use case probably is like finishing off a wounded transport.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But still, the buff is good. The terms and conditions are rough.
Yes.
This next one, though, is spicy. Take it away.
Shadow Seer model only. This is Mistweave. While the bear is leading a unit, models in that unit have the Infiltrator's ability.
Ooh.
Yes.
Auto take.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, you have to take a Shadow Seer of a Troop Master, but like if you're taking one, I think you put this on her because she also gives them Lone Op 18. So then you can like infiltrate 12 troops in the center of the fields, and they actually hit pretty hard now, and that's really annoying to deal with.
I'm still annoyed they didn't hit on 2s, and I will be perpetually annoyed that they let Banshees hit on 2s, but not Harlequin Troop. And I argue Harlequin Troop needed it more.
Yeah, I mean, I like my Banshee sitting on 2s, so.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure every Banshee player, I'm sure Eldar players won't actually complain about this, but in my mind. Yeah, they should both hit on 2s if one of them's going to.
Troops also have 5 attacks. Banshees have 2, so like, yeah. Hey. But yes, I agree. Harlequin troops have 2s.
I'm trying to buff Eldar here, Quit. All right. First of these stratagems is staged death. 1 CP in any phase. 1 Harlequin's character model from your army that was just destroyed. You can use this stratagem even though it was destroyed. At the end of the phase, set your model back up on the table as close as possible to where it was destroyed without being in engagement range with half its starting number of wounds. Can then be selected for the stratagem once per battle, of course. Fan-freaking-tastic on a gosh diggity darn solitaire. Holy moly.
This makes the Solitaire go from like, yeah, pretty good to like, oh my
Oh
god.
my god. If you are a one-phase army, the Solitaire is a freaking nightmare. It's going to kill 2 of your best things.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a combat army, right, you will charge him, he will fight first and kill something, then you will kill him, then he will stand back up and charge and kill something, then you will charge him and you will fight first and kill something.
Correct.
And there's like not a way around that.
Yeah, there is no way around it. I love this because, Solitaire's a one-off. And getting more use out of it just exponentially increases its both psychological effect of the unit and its like actual impact on the game. Because the biggest thing I've had with Solitaires is that if you misuse it, well, that's probably the best piece in your army gone.
Yes.
Like the most dynamic and threatening piece of your army is now just gone. Whereas, this is absolutely awesome. And even further than that, like Troop Masters, like getting back up on death, helping you hold primary, it's just fine.
This is a really good stratagem.
What's next?
Heroes Fall, 1 CP in the fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its target. 1 Harlequin unit from your army that was selected as a target of that attacks. You fight on death on a 4+.
It has no rider to increase it. There's so many other ones that have riders to increase it to a 3+. I'm not sure what it would be for Harlequins. Like, I don't know. I actually have no idea what it would be. But the fact that this one doesn't, it's just like the most vanilla version. And it's a little worse than some contemporaries. And I wish it did have that rider for the 3+, but it's still fine.
I think if you're like, crap, I really need to do 2 dev wounds here, like, it's worth it. But like, I would never be like, yeah, you're going to charge me and then I'm going to fight on death, because you're going to charge me, you're going to kill 5 Harlequin troops, 2 are going to fight, and they're going to kill 1 space. Maybe.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly right. Yeah. Mocking Flight is up next. It's 1 CP in your movement phase. Just after a Harlequin's unit from your army falls back, the Harlequin's unit, until the end of the turn, you're eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn which fell back. So 1 CP, fall back and do whatever you want. It's great.
There are a lot of Eldar attachments that don't have that, and really,
I know.
They super really miss it.
Yeah. Next up,
Trickster's Retort. At the end of your opponent's movement phase, just after an enemy unit ends a move within 9 inches of a troop, it can move up to 6 inches.
Not D6, not D3 +3, flat 6. Fantastic.
So really interestingly, this is the only like generic style reactive move in the book.
Yeah. The only like vanilla like straight up version, and this is arguably the best one.
Yeah. I mean, like, this is really good strategy. A basic reactive move is actually so annoying. Because you also have all the Eldar ones too, right? So you can like move, and then if they shoot you, you move again, and then you can like get back in a Star Weaver, stuff like that.
All right, next up is Bloody Dance, 1 CP. It's end of your opponent's charge phase. 1 Harlequin's infantry or Harlequin's mounted unit from your army that is within 6 of 1 or more enemy units that would be eligible to declare a charge against one of those units if it was your charge phase. So this is the I charge you in your charge phase. So it's the super spicy heroic intervention. Your unit now declares a charge that only targets 1 or more of those enemy units, and you resolve the charge. Note that, of course, you don't get the charge bonus. This is very exciting to have in Harlequins.
There are some absolutely insane things you can do with this. So, like, for example, if you put the Solitaire vaguely near the center objective, and your opponent moves like 5 trash models out onto it, you can be like, I'm going to charge you. Yeah. Or if you have a troop unit there, you can be like, I'm going to reactive move forward, and then charge you, and then pile in console 6 forward, and then get like 15 extra inches, and then like die into your lines. Yeah.
The way this works with the reactive move is so exciting to me. That is actually super exciting. One of the ways I love about it is that, so let's theoretically say you have a unit of 12 troop on the middle of the table, the chips are down, this is the make or break turn. You reactive move them backwards to be right next to the Solitaire they're screening. They charge the screen, the Solitaire charges right into the tippy top of the unit and fights first. And so like it can't be fought by like more than 1 or 2 models at worst, even if things go poorly, but then shreds the unit, doesn't kill the troop, and the troop finish it off. Like those kind of plays like are mind-bendingly awesome.
Harlequins have a lot of like these strats. What I like about them is they all work in conjunction with each other.
They do.
Yeah.
Especially this last one. This last one is really spicy as well. Take it away.
1 CP, exit the stage at the end of your opponent's fight phase. Pick 1 Harlequin's unit from your army that is not within engagement range and put it into strat reserves.
Beautiful. Do the bikes still have deep strike?
I don't believe so.
Fair. It would be extremely exciting if they still had deep strike. Like you just have that haywire uppy downy for 1 CP.
Yeah, I mean, like just having a unit that you can like cycle, especially in the late game, right? If you have 5 or some troops or whatever, you can just like pick a boat up and drop it down, and then like the turn after that, just get out and like slingshot into your opponent.
Well, I am scrolling down those Harlequin units. I would also like to say that I am pretty happy with what they've done with the boats.
Yes.
Yeah, the boats seem much improved. You are correct. They do not have deep strike, but still excellent stratagem. Just being able to redeploy the units, once again, solitaire.
Yes. This is like the solitaire and his backup dancers. Is this
correct? Everyone else is a backup dancer. But yeah, that's the end of the detachment. So, what do you think about as a power level kind of thing? Like, how good do you think this detachment is?
I think this detachment is an okay competitive list. And what I mean by that is I think it can hang in like a GT, but I don't think it's going to be like crushing worlds. I think a really good Harlequin player can take this to some pretty good finishes. I have a hard time seeing it like winning a super major.
Yeah, I'm a little annoyed that like at team events, you won't be able to take Harlequins and an Eldar army. And while part of me is very happy about that, part of me is also very sad because I feel like this isn't going to see as much play at teams events because I think there's more skewed, more nuanced things you can do than just having like a, kind of light touch shooting army with some decent melee, which is kind of what this is. I also am a little annoyed that there's 0 damage increasing stratagems.
Yes,
or enhancements actually. There's neither.
This detachment probably really wanted some like troops do okay damage now with a bunch of dev wounds. But the problem is if you just don't roll sixes at a critical time, it's really bad.
Correct. Exactly right.
There is one very good use case for Ghost of the Webway in teams, and that is that this is the single best anti-Eldar list in the game.
Yes,
this
thing will
obliterate conventional Eldar.
Shred them to absolute bits, and for in like actually numerous different ways, because we've talked about how bad and how big a pain killing wave serpents is going to be. Well, a couple of haywire bikes, no problems whatsoever. Who cares that it's -1 to wound and with an invul and 13 wounds? I just need to roll enough devs and it goes away, it goes bye-bye. And yeah, like troop will essentially the only thing they have to be fearful of is banshees because they don't have fights first innately. But that's the solid test job.
So here's the thing about the banshees: is the banshees don't have a lot of attacks.
Correct.
And the troops do a 4 invuln and can be -1 to hit.
Yeah.
The banshees are just hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s with like 10 attacks. So they go in and they kill like actually like 2 or 3 troops.
Yeah,
and then the troops fight back. And troops are very good at killing banshees.
Extremely good at killing just Eldar. Dot. Full stop. Yeah. So I like this list a lot. But this next one, we predicted this in some months' time, may be the best detachment. And Quinton might already be believing it's the best detachment. This is the devoted of Ynnari. This is the Ynnari detachment. And my lord, is that detachment rule a couple of paragraphs. It's called Strength from Death, as it always will be. You can use the following rules. You can use the following rules. You can choose not to. Lethal intent is the first section. At the end of your opponent's shooting phase, if 1 or more Ynnari units from your army were destroyed this phase, select 1 Ynnari unit from your army. That unit can make a normal move. No range restriction. Just in the phase, if they died, something else gets to move. Lethal surge.
You can token this as well, so just keep that in mind.
Once per turn, when a Ynnari unit from your army performs the fade back agile maneuver, which one is that, mate?
That is the move after you get shot.
Yep, it can make a lethal surge move instead, which is exactly what it sounds like. Roll 1d6 and add 1 to the result. It can be moved a number of inches up to that total. When doing so, you can be moved within engagement range. So it's a surge move. It's a blood surge. And then lastly...
there's one really important rider on lethal surge is that you can only be moved in engagement range of the unit that shot you. So if you get ringed by like cultists and they shoot you with a bunch of predators, you cannot blood surge into the cultists.
Correct. Lethal reprisal. At the start of the fight phase, select 1 Ynnari unit from your army, excluding Titanics, that is below starting strength until the end of the phase. That unit has fights first. Whew. Okay, so that is a lot of package. I mean, it requires things to die, to be hurt in every way. It requires you to be hurt, like lethal surge even requires you to have been targeted and, most likely have taken wounds. You have to be below starting strength for lethal reprisal, but anything just has to die for you to use lethal intent. And then next, it tells you how to construct a Ynnari detachment. You can include Ynnari units in your army, even though they don't have the Asuryani keywords. Asuryani units, excluding epic heroes from your army, gain Ynnari. And you must include your Vrain or the Yinkan in your army, and one of those models must be a warlord. So pretty similar to what it is now. But my man, Holy crap, that is a hell of a detachment rule.
Yeah, I would go so far as to say Lethal Intent is the single best rule in the game right now.
It seems pretty close.
Since I last was on this podcast, I have moved away from Aspect and Warhost, and I've been playing a bunch of games with Ynnari, and it has a very steep learning curve.
Well, exactly right. Which is why we both predicted on part 2 last week that once people get proficient enough with this codex, this might be the best way to play Eldar.
Yeah, the analysis paralysis of both you and your opponent is very real. I am just barely starting to figure this out. But the stuff you can do with Lethal Intent and the stuff it makes your opponent do is criminal.
Dude, yeah. So this is like, I mean, we already talked about there's a certain level of not so much a gotcha, but you have to be, your opponent has to be working so much harder than you to not just get screwed over every time they try and like make a play versus Eldar. And this army takes that to 12 out of 10, not even 10 or 11 out of 10, freaking 12, because like Warhost is already 11. This one's one further than that, but it's a lot harder to wield and get the power from because your list needs to be like so different to the other Eldari lists. Like you don't want any 10-mans in this list. This is literally the MSU good stuff list, bar none. Like that's it.
So there are a few important writers. I don't know why they put this here, but both the Incarn and Yvrain have a datasheet ability that says if this model is your warlord, you cannot include any other epic heroes. I don't know why it's on their datasheet and not here, but what it means is that you cannot take any Phoenix Lord, you cannot take Eldrad, you cannot take the Solitaire. So you are giving up some really good characters. And then also, I think this is a typo or like it needs to be FAQ'd, but currently the Asuryani units, like Fire Dragons and stuff, maybe can't go in transports. There's some ambiguity on it because the transport say it cannot transport Ynnari models. And there's question as to whether or not, like, if the unit has the Ynnari keyword, do the models have it? I've seen it ruled both ways. I've seen like a lot of discussion online about it. I'm really hoping we're going to get an FAQ, but as it currently stands, I am playing it that like Asuryani units cannot go in transports.
Fair. All right, first of the enhancements, Gaze of Ynnari. Farseer model only. The Bearer's Eldritch Storm weapon has the devastating wounds ability. Is this any good?
I'm not sure. I think the best use case on this is this one thing this attachments really likes is a unit of 6 scatterbikes, and a Farseer on Jetbike with them is not that expensive.
Correct.
And then you got a Dev Wounds flip to 6 gun that actually shoots kind of hard. So
Maybe. Yeah. What's the next one?
Storm of Whispers, Warlock model only in your shooting phase. After the bear has shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of these attacks. That unit must take a battle shock test. This would be good if you could put it on a bike lock, but these don't have your character, so it has to go on a footlock, and the footlocks are not awesome in this detachment.
Agreed. Borrowed Vigor, Archon model only, +2 attacks to the bearer's melee weapon. So definitely getting up to the blender level. Not a bad one if you're taking if you're taking him over the Autarchs.
So a unit of 5 Incubi plus an Archon plus a Venom is not an expensive package. And basically what happens in this case, right, is you put the Venom in an exposed location, they shoot the Venom, the guys get out, one Incubi dies, then they move. Now they fight first, reroll hits, reroll wounds.
Yeah.
And they actually hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you said 5 Incubi and an Archon and a Venom, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's so basic and so ridiculous. What's the last one?
Morbid Might, Succubus model only. Each time the bear makes an melee attack, you can reroll the wound roll.
I wish this was the unit as well.
Yeah.
Which is desperately needs some rerolls to wound.
The Succubus is the single most disappointing offensive profile in the game.
Correct. And this one is trash because the Succubus sucks.
She went from being like an insane melee blender, like the best character in the game, to being like...
Correct.
She literally hits as hard as like an intercessor sergeant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, literally 9th edition, the Succubus was the best character of 9th edition.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even debatable. She was that much cheaper and that much better than everyone, even after like freaking a year of points nerfs. And yeah, now I don't know. They're just like which portion of Drakari is just like languishing. Literally, apart from Lilith.
Yes.
All right. Pile of Dread is the first stratagem for 1 CP. Any phase, one Ynnari unit from your army that was just destroyed whilst in range of an objective marker. You sticky that objective. 1 CP. When you die on an objective, you keep it, just like the Khorne Demons have now as well.
So
and of course, World Eaters.
So I haven't used the stratagem a ton, mostly because my opponent knows I have it and therefore has to constantly sacrifice units to prevent me from using it.
Mm-hmm. So this is the kind of thing that makes you want to always put things on objectives, regardless of whether you can kill the units or not on them, just to even out. Yeah, it's just a pain in the ass. An absolute pain in the ass stratagem.
It's quite good.
Yeah. What's next?
Macabre Resilience. It's in your shooting phase or your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase. You pick one Ynnari infantry or mounted unit from your army, and it is -1 to wound for the rest of the phase.
Very interesting. This I don't know if this is enough to change many metrics. I mean, because you're mostly wielding toughness 3 infantry, but it's interesting, isn't it? Because you can stress people into having multiple applications to kill your little 5-man units, and just doing that's enough to scramble some plans.
So there are a few use cases. This is really good at the end of at the end of the game, in turns 4 or 5.
Yeah, correct.
Where you're scrapping. It's also quite good if your opponent's math is towards the end of their turn, and the math is right on the edge. I see this a lot lightning fast reactions.
Yeah, me too. If you can do it at to threaten to blow out an activation or two, or activation lock somebody into having to double or triple down, or the best unit I can think of is actually a unit of Shining Spears and or Skyweavers, who already have inbuilt -1 to hit.
They're not Ynnari.
Oh, you can't make any Harlequin unit Ynnari?
No Harlequin unit can be Ynnari.
Balls. That would have been cool. Never mind. Shining Spears it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, also just there's a lot of tricky, if you're I'm going to shoot you, and you're cool, I'm going to -1 a wound, and then you killed 3 instead of 5 models.
Correct.
Now I will leave behind this wall.
I will exactly leave. Yeah, the best way to use this is to keep a unit alive in order to get it out of there.
Yeah.
To make fade back better. What's the next one?
1 CP Emissaries of Ynni in the fight phase. Just after a Ynnari infantry unit has selected its targets, you reroll once to hit. If you are below starting strength, you reroll all hits.
Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, very handy. Next up, Parting the Veil is 2 CP. One of the first times we've said 2 CP on the review of this codex. It's a fight phase. Yeah. Fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 Ynnari unit from your army that was selected as those targets. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit is destroyed, if that model has not fought, do not remove from play automatically. Yeah, 2 CP auto fight on death.
It's quite good.
It's quite good. Okay. Yeah, auto fight on death. So much better and more threatening.
So my list currently has 3 squads of Banshees with Autarchs, 3 5-man squads, and they love Emissaries of Ynni because real ones to hit, they all hit on 2s, so they become so much more reliable.
Yeah.
And then they love Parting the Veil because the Autarch makes it 1 CP, and then it's an affordable strat to use.
Correct. What's the next one?
Soulsight, 1 CP in your shooting phase, you pick a Ynnari unit. I believe this is the second offensive strat that can go on a Wraith Knight. Until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in your unit have the lethal hits and ignores cover abilities.
Ooh. 1 CP for both is very nice.
Yes. The best use case I have found on this is a unit of 6 Windrider jet bikes with scatter lasers.
Yeah, correct. That no AP is a bit rough, but there's a couple other ways to give it 1, if not. No, you can't give it 2 AP in this detachment, but you can just War Walker it to 1 AP. And then 1 AP ignores covered lethals. It's not bad with rails to hit.
I don't even think I don't even love it because it shoots well into a vehicle. I like it because someone has to kill 10 guardsmen in the open, and this does it every time.
And this makes it absolutely negligible, guaranteed.
Yeah. Also, this is an incredible unit into Eldar because they shoot something to death. It moves 16 inches. Then in your turn, it moves 16 inches. Then it's in the center of your opponent's Eldar army, and you go lethal hits, ignore cover, sustained hits. And you just shoot it in 4 directions.
In every direction, you just spin like a top. All right, last one. Death answers death. 1 CP in your opponent's shooting phase. 1 Ynnari unit from your army that isn't a Wraith construct. If one or more enemy units, so one or more models in that unit were destroyed this phase, unit can shoot as if it was your shooting phase. So you get shot, you lose models, and then you shoot. Can you shoot and then, because you've been shot, go behind the wall? If you got 10 Dark Reapers, can they get shot, lose a model, shoot, then back out?
So you face at the end of your opponent's shooting phase. But like what you can do is be like, I'm gonna lethal intent this unit of Dark Reapers that has
Yeah.
9 guys left. I'm gonna walk out, then I'm gonna shoot something else. Notably, you don't have to shoot back at something, you just get to shoot.
You don't have to, exactly right. You don't have to shoot what shot you. This is the best version of this rule.
Yes. So originally, there were a lot of all of these rules. Originally, I was like, that's not that good. That's not that good. That's not that good. Having played with this is a very powerful set of stratagems for what the army's trying to do.
Well, because they're all relevant. Like it's so often, because so often it's like, here's 2 amazing stratagems. Here's 2 mediocre. Here's 2 I'll never use. This is 6 relevant, good stratagems. Yeah. The enhancements are a bit of a letdown, but the detachment rule is absolutely busted level S tier nonsense. So it's kind of an incredible package.
I have a confession for you, Adam. If there were no stratagems with detachment and it had no enhancement,
be good.
And the only rule it had with lethal intent, I would say it's an S tier detachment. Like I cannot stress on a molecular level how broken that rule is.
It's ridiculous.
So if Ynnari are allowed to take units in the transports they should be able to take, right? Like if you could put fire dragons and a wave serpent.
Yeah.
If your opponent shoots any of your units to death, the fire dragons can hit literally any spot on the table if they are touching your backboard edge, because they will move like actually 40 inches, then disembark, then shoot you.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's absolutely revolting.
Yeah.
But the hope is that this is a detachment that's very hard to build the right list into and very hard to use. And that's the only solace that I have. First time I read this, I was like, holy crap, this is some of the best rules I've ever read in this edition. And then I thought about what the list would look like, and I couldn't conceptualize the list that I wanted for this. And then I was like, good. As long as this list isn't auto build, I am happy.
So usually especially for all the other detachments, my first list was very roughly 50% of my final list. My first Ynnari list and my current Ynnari list, which I don't think is even close to my finished Ynnari list, are wildly different.
Yeah.
This detachment is actually hard to play because it has a lot of really cool rules, but you are fundamentally playing like 15 squads of 5 elves on foot with
Correct.
No tanks.
Yep.
It has like issues killing multiple vehicles in a turn. Like it has issues here. I think the rules are so good that you can overcome them, but this is the like most broken yet least auto build detachment ever.
I've ever seen. Yeah. I've ever seen. Yeah.
This is this could say like devoted of Liam VSL, and it would be
yeah, this is my issue with it. Exactly right. If you are like a pro player who has infinite hours and energy to put into this, that detachment is busto S+ tier. For us plebeians, it's like, do I even bother trying to get good at this thing?
Yeah.
I'm speaking about myself, not for you, obviously, mate.
It's so hard to play.
And skill, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Seer Council. All right, this is where your strands of fate have resided in a completely new form. At the start of the first battle round, you generate fate dice by rolling a number of d6 based on the battle size, as shown below. Keep your fate dice to the side. This is 6 for a 2,000-point strike force mission. Each time you use one of the stratagems opposite, if your fate dice pool contains one or more fate dice showing the corresponding value in the table below, you can discard one of those corresponding fate dice if you do reduce the CP cost of that stratagem use by 1. So you kind of understand. You have 6 dice that can be expended for 6 different stratagem uses throughout the game. And naturally, some of these are better than others. But how do you feel about this detachment rule, mate? Because this just means you have like 6 extra CP to use in a game, essentially.
So I think it's okay. I think if you're playing Seer Council, what you do is you take Eldrad and Autark and this.
Yeah.
And you have, so I did the math once, you have like actually 30 CP. It means you grenade and cycle a strat every turn.
Yeah.
And you can still use all of your like detachment abilities.
Yeah.
At the regular cadence.
So the first time I read this detachment, I was like, okay, if the strats are good, this is good. How do you feel about the strats?
I actually think they're quite solid.
Good, because I was of the opinion that none of them was like, they were all like value without being amazing. Like there was none that jumped out there and was like, oh my God, that's the one I'm using every turn. They're all just like incremental good value stuff.
So I played one game with Seer Council.
I watched it.
Oh, you did? Yeah. And this was another detachment that I think has gotten a lot stronger now that I know what the Codex is good at and suffers at. I think it is trying to do something similar to Ynnari, but is worse at it.
Yep. What's the first of the enhancements?
Lucid Eye, Asuryani Psyker model only, which is now Farseers of both varieties, like Spirit Seers and Warlocks, the Foot Warlock. In your command phase, you can add 1, 2, or subtract 1 from the value of 1 fate dice in your fate dice pool.
Handy.
It is.
I assume.
It's 30 points, so you may take it, you may not. It makes you strat use basically like you can do whatever you want, but we'll see.
All right, Runes of Warding. These are all Asuryani Psyche, by the way, as you would assume. Models in the bearers unit have a feel no pain 4+ ability against mortal wounds, psychic attacks, and critical wounds with dev wounds. That cause attacks with dev wounds. So 4 up, feel no pain. It's not going to save you. I wouldn't bother.
No. Stone of Eldritch Fury. Plus 12-inch range to the characteristics of psychic weapons.
Equipped by the bearer. Whoop-de-doo, I think.
Yeah.
He's most likely on a bike, and so range is not an issue.
Irrelevant? Yeah, I never
it. Talk of Moraheg. Once per turn, when your opponent targets a unit from their army within 12 of the bearer with a stratagem, it's a Vectora. Yeah.
It's a Vectora, but worded poorly. Because they target with the stratagem, and then you make it cost 1 more. So there's a lot of what happens if your opponent has 1 command point, and then it costs 2? Do they keep their CP? Do they just not get to use the stratagem?
Correct.
What happens there?
It doesn't have that last qualifier.
Yeah.
Which you would assume. You would assume that it would. Yeah. You assume you just tell your opponent that they can't use the stratagem and just be like, "Yo, keep your CP. You can't use the strat. You're within 12 of the talk of Moraheg."
Yeah.
But the enhancements aren't anything to write home about, unfortunately.
No, the Torque of Moraheg is cute.
It is.
It is the only the one thing that is across all rulings for the Torque of Moraheg is that you can basically you can turn off a 1 CP strat if your opponent only has 1 CP, or you can make him pay 2. It's not bad. It would be better if you could put it on a bike warlock, but even on a foot warlock, it's okay.
Yep. What's the first of the strats?
Presentiment of Dread. Use it in the command phase. You pick 1 Asuryani Psyker model from your army, and you select 1 enemy unit with an 18 of and visible, and that unit must take a battle shock test at -1.
This is actually excellent.
This is an incredible stratagem. I don't know. You watched the game I played in Brian. I scammed actually 20 primary with this strat.
You did.
I used it 9 times.
Yeah, so you're like, oh, your leadership 6 army. Cool. Yeah, 50-50. Bang, 1 CP. 50-50, you don't get primary, baby. Every time.
Yeah, so there was one time I had a foot warlock on an objective. And Brian was like, I have a Knight Atropos, 12 OC or whatever. Bam. And I was like, okay, battle shock test. Fail. I get the point.
It actually cooked him as well, because
He
had strats he wanted to use. He couldn't rotate. He couldn't.
And you can use this both in your command phase and your opponents. So you just use it actually 9 times and just spam primary at people.
This is the one that you want to have the most dice representing.
Yes. Yeah.
And these are in order. So 1 on a dice is presentment of Dread. So that as you go down, these 6 are in order.
Also, next funny here is the Hemlock Wraith Fighter is an Asuryani Psyker that can see everything because it's a plane. And then it can make you take a -1, so you're -2.
Yeah, that's pretty sexy. Forewarned is up next, 1 CP. Fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 Asuryani infantry unit from your army that isn't a Wraith construct that was selected as a target of one of those attacking units' attacks and is within 9 of an Asuryani Psyker model. And to the end of the phase, each time an attack targets your unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll and subtract 1 from the freaking wound roll.
The math on fighting Storm Guardians in combat gets actually really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah. That's very interesting and was super powerful just in the fight phase. And I still don't think it's enough. I still don't think you're going to use it that often.
No, it's because it's the fight phase you don't use that often.
Yeah, it's fight phase infantry only, and not Wraith Construct, which is the obvious best thing to possibly do with this.
Also, all of these key off on having a Psyker nearby, which isn't a huge deal because you take 6 Warlocks in this detachment just to have them be running around as idiots. Yep. But if all your Warlocks are dead, you can't use any of these.
Yeah, correct. What's next?
Unshrouded Truth. Use it in your movement phase. You pick 1 Asuryani infantry, not Wraith Construct, that has not been selected to move and is within 9 inches of a Psyker. You're moved from the battlefield and you set it up anywhere on the table more than 9 inches away, and then it cannot be selected to move, but it can charge.
This is quite good.
This is incredible. So my favorite part of this detachment is a unit of 10 Dark Reapers with an Autarch that just like teleports every turn to get perfect efficiency.
Yes, perfect angles. This is like a 1 CP every turn gem. What's the gem for Thousand Suns? Or the Veil of Darkness? Or like it's just 1 CP, do it. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah. Also, like, if you're like, oh, I drew behind enemy lines, establish locus. Okay, well, these Scorpions are going to go over there now. Because use it in your movement phase. Like, you've seen all your cards, you've seen primary, you've seen all of that.
All right, next up, Fate Inescapable for 1 CP. It's in your shooting phase. 1 Asuryani infantry unit from your army that isn't a race construct and has not been selected to shoot this phase that is within 9 of a Psyker. Until the end of the phase, range weapon equipped models in your unit have ignores cover ability. And each time a model unit makes an attack, you crit on a critical wound, you improve the AP by 1. Another good stratagem.
Yep.
Very nice. Like you like still probably gonna have freaking Azuman and 10 Dire Avengers, and this just gasses them up even freaking harder.
Yeah, this is really good on Azuman and Dire Avengers, because like if they're shooting at a vehicle, they basically go to like effectively AP3.
Correct.
Which is the point where they're like, I rolled 5/6 to wound, take 5 damage.
Dead. Yeah. And I mean, if you had Lycus, you'd crit on 5s, right? Or is Lycus crit onto hit?
She's hit.
Dang. Yeah. That would have been a crazy combo. All right, next up.
Isha's Fury. You use it when you're in your opponent's movement phase, just after they end a move within 9 inches of a Psyker. Does not require line of sight. And then you roll 6d6 on a 3+, they take a mortal wound.
It's a pretty decent little grenade.
You use this like 5 times.
Yeah. I actually really like this. This is an
incredible strat. Just like every time they move near you, you're like dead.
Yeah.
So like if I gave it to Brian, he was like, I want to move these 5 battle scissors onto the point, and I was like, they're all dead. And he was like, oh.
I love that it's a little gotcha grenade.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Last one is Psychic Shield for 1 CP. Your opponent's shooting phase just after the enemy unit selected as targets. 1 Asuryani infantry unit that was selected as a target as attacks. That's within 9 of a Psyker. Load up 18.
That Dark Reaper unit that teleports, also
every turn. And you just get to keep it perfectly safe at all times. Yes. It's fantastic.
It shoots with perfect efficiency for 5 turns.
Yeah. Exactly right. 5 turns of safety and efficiency. It's really, really good. And yeah, suffice to say, the only number you really kind of don't want is a 2.
Yes.
Because I just don't think it adds that much, because you Eldar, you shouldn't be getting hit.
Yeah, I mean, you might use it like once or twice.
Yeah.
It's like not bad on a squad of Howling Banshees, because then they're -1 to hit, -1 to wound for up invuln, and they're like kind of annoying to hit in combat.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that. This is a good detachment.
This is a good detachment.
There's a lot of extra terms and conditions. It's a detachment that has to take a crazy amount of Psyker models, because you're obviously going to be taking like probably at least 2 Phoenix Lords in this army as well.
Yeah.
So you may just have like freaking 9 characters in this list.
So this list got massively buffed by the fact that the solo Warlock on bike and the Warlock Conclave are no longer characters.
Correct.
So don't give up Assassinate.
Yeah.
I don't mind taking 3 Warlocks on bike, because for 45 points, they're actually not a terrible unit.
No. Yeah, they're cheapest chips as well.
Yeah, super cheap.
I quite like the Seer Council. It's a little bit more awkward to use because just everything has an extra term and condition of having to have a Psyker around. But if you take enough and play it well, I think it's quite a strong detachment.
You know what Seer Council feels like?
Right.
Seer Council feels like the best detachment in a bad book.
Yes, it would, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It's like the auto take detachment in like a bad book.
Yeah, it would be. It's the Shield Host. Or
yes.
Turns out Talons is possibly better, but yeah. All right. Aspect Hope. No, I'm talking about I'm talking about something different. As in, like, I hope it doesn't break the game. Hey! But here we are with the last of the detachments. Path of the Warrior is the detachment rule. Pretty much each time you choose to shoot or fight, you get to have your choice of reroll ones to hit or reroll ones to wound. It's very good.
It's not Aspect Warriors or the Avatar of Cain, which is just like all of your relevant damage dealing units.
It's all exactly right. And it's the Aspect Host. It's all you're going to want to take.
Yeah.
It's kind of all you want to take anyway. Like, apart from Guardians and Storm Guardians, in which trying to make them do damage is a fallacy, unless you've taken the Super Bomb. So it's kind of all the damage dealing units in the army anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, what's the first of the enhancements?
Aspect of Murder, Autark or Autark Whaley per model only, +1 damage to melee weapons, and the bearer's weapons have precision.
Cute. Do you like it?
I think it's a little overcosted. So I think if you're going to take this, you take not the glaive, because damage 4 is like an awkward, not that relevant melee profile.
Yep.
But if you take the Banshee sword, he goes to 5 attacks at like 4, 2, 3 anti-infantry 3+.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yep. The only, I mean, I don't mind damage 4 because I'm of the opinion that a lot of the 3 wound infantry are going to get quite pushed out of the game. And so what people are going to try and do for the 3 wound infantry that are too good not to take is to get them feeling their pains, like 8-bound and stuff like that.
True. Yeah.
So the 4 wound really just ices those units, but you're giving up a couple of attacks and your strength still isn't great.
Yeah, the problem is it also like doubles the cost of the dude.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's more the issue, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why this costs so much. Yeah.
I don't know. I like Autarks because they're not expensive.
Exactly right. So making one expensive, is a misnomer. Mantle of Wisdom is up next. Autark or Autark Whaley model only. While the bearer is leading an Aspect Warriors unit, each time the unit is selected to shoot or fight, they get both of the re-rolls. So it's just real ones to hit, real ones to wound on an enhancement. It's fantastic. Take
the best single unit in the game, in this book, is a unit of 10 Dark Reapers in Aspect Host with an Autark with Mantle of Wisdom.
Correct.
That unit is cracked.
It's perma hitting on 3s. You can not make it not hit on 3s, re-rolling 1s, and then wounding on likely at worst 5s. With two auto flips, re-rolling 1s. It's freaking amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, AP 2 ignores cover, damage 3. It's brutal. Absolutely brutal. Next one.
Shimmerstone, Autark or Autark Whaley model only, while the bear is leading an Aspect Warriors unit. Each time a range attack targets that unit, -1 to wound.
Very good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, real good. Yeah, I'm not sure where this one goes because, of course, you one unit of Direct Vengeance that would want it's going to have Azaman, can't take an enhancement. I mean, 10 Fire Dragons, I guess, but if you're going to take 10 Fire Dragons, like
you're going to get back in the transport.
Yeah, exactly right. You're going to be as uninteractable as possible. This is just like a planning for things to go wrong.
This is a great enhancement that I don't want.
Yeah, exactly. Really weird. Really weird. I mean, any other army would be bending over backwards.
Yeah.
Like there are some armies where you would pay 50 points for this.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Last one. A Strategic Savant. Autark or Autark Whaley model only. While the bear is leading unit of Aspect Warriors, add 1 to the OC characteristic of models in that unit. I also quite like this one.
So there are like there's 2 really good use cases on this one. The first one is if in a squad of Banshees, it makes a 12 OC package instead of a 6 OC package.
Yeah.
Or in a unit
I was thinking unit of spiders.
I was just about to say that. Unit of spiders, it goes 26 inches, then is OC 12, then the Autark shoots you with a melta gun that auto wounds. It hits on 2s rolling auto wounds, and then he throws a grenade.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Seems good, mate.
Yeah.
Warp Spiders is my favorite use there. Just to go flip a premium objective, and on a turn in which you probably got a secondary card worth sending him in for.
Yes.
First to the strats.
Warrior focus, using the shooting phase or the fight phase. You pick 1 Aspect Warrior Avatar of Cain. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, you can ignore any or all modifiers to the ballistic skill, weapon skill, strength, AP, and damage, and or any or all hit modifiers to the hit roll.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is busto.
You don't ignore wound mods, but you ignore everything else.
Yeah, everything else. The fact that it ignores AP as well, like it just takes Armor Contempt off the table is so strong. So extremely strong. And damage as well. Like make Fire Dragons just like ignore damage mods. Just lol Catan off the freaking board.
Die immediately.
If they didn't already, which they do.
They do, yeah.
Means you don't need to be in Melter range. You like no scoping Catan from like max range is hilarious.
In Aspect Host, the 10-man unit of Fire Dragons in a Wave Serpent kills like 2 Catan a turn.
Absolutely vile.
Yeah.
300 points is what. Put them up to 300. All right, to their final breath, 1 CP, fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected as target. 1 Aspect Warriors or Avatar Arcane unit from your army that was selected as a target of those attacks. Each time you use this stratagem, you can remove 1 Aspect Shrine token your unit has on their data sheets. Then, until the end of the phase, each time model unit is destroyed, if that model has not fought this phase, roll a d6, adding 1 if you remove said Aspect Shrine token on a 4+ fight on death. So there's the rider that I wanted for Harlequins. You know, something to give them the 3s to fight on death, because 1 CP for 4 I fight on death. Only if you're losing the whole unit do you bother. Whereas this one, like if you were just losing like a handful of Banshees, you'd pretty happily flip this.
Yeah, you do have to use your token, which is like really valuable as a hit or wound. But like, again, I think you use this especially if you need to. Also, it's really good on Kane, not because it's reliable, but because like
the threat.
If it works, right? Like you're.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Like my I don't know Fulgrim or whatever is going to charge the Avatar, and then you're like, okay, 50-50 shot, you die too.
Yeah, 50-50, come with me. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. What's the next one?
Skyborn Sanctuary. It's back, baby. Yep. End of the fight phase of the fight phase. You pick 1 Oceania unit from your army and 1 friendly transport that's able to embark in, and you just get inside.
Yep. Wholly within 6 as well, not wholly within 3.
Yep.
You Aeldari bastards. Everyone else has to be within 3.
No, it's quite good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It makes this detachment compete with Warhost because you can get back.
It does. Yeah. Correct, it does. Doom Inescapable is up next and is the cutest stratagem. It is just for the Avatar of Kane in your shooting phase. And you will change the Wailing Doom profile to 18-inch damage 8. Lol.
I don't think Avatar's that good. You're never going to use it.
No, it's not. I don't think his gun is that good either. That it's worth putting a CP into. But this is very cute, and I like. If
you could still fate die it, this would be an incredible strat. Correct. But since you can't, you're just like, I hope I roll 6.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many good things to do with CP in this attachment. You're not doing this.
Yeah, it's really good at shooting at Achilles Ridge runners. That's the only use case I've done for it.
Yeah, crap. Okay, that's not bad actually.
Because you're hitting on a 2, rolling, killing on a 2.
Yeah. Killing on a 2.
Other than that,
no save, get out of here. All right, next one.
Okay, Preternatural Precision. This is kind of complicated. So you pick an Aspect Warrior unit in your shooting phase, and that unit gets either ignores cover, lethal hits, or sustained 1. If you spend an Aspect Shrine token, you pick 2 of those.
Which is pretty much always going to be lethal sustained.
Yeah, there's some use cases like Dire Avengers also like ignores cover.
True.
Yeah. But like, so the big wombo combo here is your 10-man unit of Dark Reapers with an Autarch with Mantle of Wisdom, gets out of a transport, pops this, burns a token, and then Lycus jumps forward and shoots thing you want to kill, and then your lethal sustained 5s.
With real ones to hit.
With real ones to hit and wound.
Yep, I don't want to live on this planet anymore. I'm out.
Yes.
But this is and when you said this is hard to explain, I was like, it's hard to explain because it's busted. It's extremely good. There's pretty much nowhere else where you can spend 1 CP and get 2 keywords.
Yes,
get 2 offensive keywords. You do have to spend 2 resources because you're expecting a token and a thing, but still, absolutely amazing.
I mean, if this strat was just 1 CP lethal hits, or 1 CP sustained hits, or 1 CP ignore cover, it'd be a good strat.
It'd still be a good strat. Exactly right. Kane's Vengeance is the last one for 1 CP. Your opponent's movement phase just after an enemy unit that isn't a monster or vehicle is selected to fall back. 1 Aspect Warrior Avatar Kane unit from your army that has been engaged range of that unit. All models in that enemy unit must take a Desperate Escape test. When doing so, if that enemy unit is battle shocked, -1 from that test. This is cute. I think this is the best, use for a Avatar of Kane in this army, unfortunately.
Yeah, just like pinballs into people.
Pinball people, they get extra pile and consolidate, go tap everything, because if they don't fall back, they're dead. And if they do fall back, they might be dead. So I like this. I like this with the Avatar. In other places, less likely. I mean, big Banshees tapping things is very terrifying because, of course, fights first. They're going to kill you if you stay. So you do get to punish them, at least if they want to try and leave.
Yeah, I agree. I think that like Doom Inescapable and Kane's Vengeance are not that good. And their Final Breath is situational, but Warrior Focus, Preternatural, and Skyborn Sanctuary are so good.
Amazing. Yeah.
Those are like 11 out of 10 strats.
Correct. Well, that brings us to the end of the detachment reviews, mate. All 8 of them have now been done. And did we get it under an hour? We did get it under an hour.
Look at that.
And now we have the hard task.
Answer questions?
Nah, ranking them. Hey, let's do it.
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's far too early for us to be held to this.
Yes.
Okay, people at home. It's far too early to come at us with this in a couple of months' time when we were completely wrong, but we're going to give this a crack.
Yes.
Now, the worst one. Is it Eandon, Guardian, or Seer Council? By Eandon, I mean the construct.
I think it's Guardians. I think it's Guardians.
I think it's, and what's wild is that would be like the second best attachment in pretty much any other book.
The Guardian detachment is not a bad detachment.
No, it's not.
There are no bad detachments in this book. Guardians is like actually like quite solid.
It's respectable.
It's quite good.
What is next?
Probably Wraiths.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that is fair. It's the most narrow of the detachments, but the units are still...
If we're adding Armored Warhost, it's the worst one.
Are we adding Armored Warhost? Yeah, sure.
It's bad. It's the worst one. Never take it.
Easily
the worst one.
It will never get taken again once this, if it ever was. I'm not even convinced it was. What was it called? Armored Warhost?
Armored Warhost. It's terrible.
Yeah, absolutely gutter trash.
Yeah.
Spirit Conclave is the third. Conclave. All right, what's next after Spirit Conclave? I reckon it's Seer Council.
I think it's Bikes.
Oh yeah, okay. Yep. I'll go with you. You're the expert, mate, and you've played the Codex.
The problem with Bikes is that the Bikes are too fragile to build an armory around.
Okay.
And the Bikes are trying to do what Aspect and Warhost are doing, but they're much worse at it. Because the Bikes are really bulky, and like moving them 7 is clunky, and like if all your damage is on the Bikes, they require like 3 support units and an enhancement and 3 strats to be good. And if you do that, they kill anything. But the problem is if your opponent has a Rhino in front of their important unit, you have to like try and kill the Rhino first, and then you have to expose like 4 things to kill this Rhino, and then your like squishy like Bikes are like just in the open. So
my other issue with the book is with that army is I feel like you're going to be like, oh my god, I can just win the game with Wind Riders, and then realize you can't win the game with Wind Riders. You actually need like Shining Spears, and then you realize you have to take like 600 points of Shining Spears, and then you are stuck with 600 points of Shining Spears.
Yes.
Even though Shining Spears are pretty good, they're not bad, but it's just a lot of points of your army in very few wounds.
So
that you need to use perfectly.
Yeah, I really like Wind Riders. Like I'm trying to fit 18 into my Ynnari list, but I don't want them to build an army list around. I want them because they're like relatively cheap, very fast moving Space Marine killers. Like that's what I want, right?
Yeah. All right. What is after Seer Council? So right now from the bottom, Armored Warhost, Guardian Battle Host, Spirit Conclave, Wind Rider Host, then Seer Council.
So yeah, it's definitely correct.
Harlequins.
Harlequins.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then I think after Harlequins is Aspects, then Warhost, then Ynnari.
Nice. That's exactly what I would have said. Aspect Host, Warhost, Ynnari. So from the top, Ynnari, Warhost, Aspect Host, Harlequins, Seer Council, Wind Rider Host, Spirit Conclave, Guardian Battle Host, and Armored Warhost.
I cannot stress this enough. If someone walked up to me tomorrow and said, hey, Quinton, someone just won a 124-person super major with a Guardian Battle Host, I'd be like, that's cool. What they run? Right? I'd be like, that makes sense. Yeah.
0% shock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Armored Warhost, I would be like, genuinely, you are lying. You are lying to me. But yeah, now we're at the point where we have to do our rating system, mate. So out of 10 as an Aeldari player, and speaking for the millions and millions of Aeldari players across the world, how happy are you with this codex out of 10?
11.
Yeah, this has to be the best and deepest codex that they've ever had. Because firstly, whilst I think it's possibly egregiously annoying to play into, I don't think it's egregiously powerful.
I don't.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of games where I describe what I'm doing, and then my opponent's first movement phase takes actually an hour.
Correct.
And then they like fall into a trap, and they're like, oh my god. And then I like hit them, and they're like, oh wait, I lost 1 Rhino and 5 Space Marines. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh. Like, okay, so we talked about earlier about like, one thing in my Ynnari list is currently a unit of 6 Shining Spears, which can go 32 inches. And I'm like, that's crazy. And my opponents will freak out about it. And then like, I'll like use it, and they'll like be sweating bullets as it like goes in, and they're like, oh, you killed 4 Gravis Marines.
Yeah.
Okay. For 250 points.
Yeah.
Like I can go anywhere and hit anything. So I think it's worth it. But like, there are real downsides. Like if your opponent is playing the really annoying Warhost build where 5 things get out of transports and then they all get back inside. The problem is like, no one's on an objective, right? So you're just like, they're never getting primary.
Yeah. It's exactly the same as playing into the Splinter Drukhari.
Yes,
It's like see, everything is always getting in and out of radar or venom, but you just put more OC than they have on the objectives, and you're like, make them get out. You have to stay out, or else you're never going to get any primary.
I think this book is like just everything Drukhari wants to be when it grows up.
That's freaking true, dude. That is very true.
Like every unit in this book is just like what the Drukhari version of it should be.
Yeah. Banshees are exactly how Incubi should feel. Even Incubi are like a legitimate unit that costs way too many points, but a legitimate unit. So I'm of the opinion Aeldari players should be a 10 out of 10 minimum happy with this.
Yeah, this is like the best written book of 10th edition. Easily.
Yeah, it has more. No other book has come out and had so many relevant detachments. I mean, the Space Marine book came out, and 3 of its detachments got played, and one of them's freaking Gladius. One of the 3, you know.
So
Ironstorm, Gladius, Vanguard.
Yeah.
What are the rest of the detachments? I challenge people to tell me what the rest of the detachments are, like without looking it up. So power wise.
Yes.
Now, I'm pretty sure we're not going to agree on this, but where do you put them in the tier list?
I think once I like get it figured out, and again, this book is so deep that I'm like 25 games in and still like in the like exploratory phase. Usually 3 or 4 games is my exploratory phase, but we are still figuring things out. I think it's a Seer Codex.
Yay, I'm happy you agree with me. This is at least as good as Guard and Marines now. At least as good. I argue it's likely better, but I'll wait for the proof to be in the pudding. I think this will be. So the issue I'm not saying is better than the rest is because I think the best part of this codex is going to be the first month and then the 6 months after that.
Yes.
It's not the middle. Not like it's going to be the first month. It's going to freaking win probably everything. And people are going to be like, this is S+ tier busted. Please destroy it. And then it's going to go, people are going to meta exclusively for Eldar. It's going to get destroyed for a bit. And we're going to realize we can. And then it's just going to be an S tier army or an A+ tier army as Eldar players get better and everyone metas for it. But I do think it's going to be the dominant narrative will be, did Eldar win XYZ this week?
Yeah, I think so. I think also like your first game into Eldar is way harder than your second game into Eldar.
Correct. Yeah, exactly right.
The first time you play Eldar, you're just like, what is happening?
And the thing is, this book is so deep that every detachment is going to do that to you in a slightly different way.
Yes.
And you're going to have to combat it in a slightly different way. So we have to wait and see. That's why I said the first month.
Yeah.
The first month, we're just going to have to wait and see what the best Eldar players bring, which detachments they beat people with, and then figure out what we have to do to not have that happen every game.
So, so a full confession, I am a bad list writer. And what I mean by that is like, if you said, Quinton, here's a book, I want you to come up with a novel, unexplored concept that is really good, i.e. like John Lennon's Vanguard Ultramarines that he pioneered. Yeah. I am really bad at doing that. My strength in list writing comes from taking a concept that is popular or someone has already like done and refining it around the edges. And I'm really good at that. I'm really good at like swapping out a few key units and making it like 10 or 15% better. So I'm really excited just to see like what other really good Eldar players bring. So I can look at that and be like, oh, wow, I hadn't thought of this unit. Or, oh, that's a great combo. I'm going to take that and then build with that. Yeah.
What incredible insight into your own strengths in this game. I love that you know that stuff off the cuff. I love that you can identify that. Because so many other people will just be like, I'm bad. And we'll just stop there rather than looking for the things that they are good at. And it might be very likely that the 10 or 20% you're changing is just to literally suit your best ways to play the game.
Oh, yeah.
Suit you like a glove.
I think a really good way of playing like Aspect Host or War Host is to play like hyper aggressive, like my goal is to table you in 3 turns. And I am not building or planning to do that because I'm really bad at that, right? Like if my game plan is to table you immediately, I will fumble it every time. That's just not who I am as a player, right? I can't really do that. But if you say, hey, Quinton, can you build a really annoying like control list with fast shooting? I will do that like perfectly.
Yeah. Well, my man, that is going to wrap us up for this review of I'm just going to say it, the best codex we've had so far this edition.
Yeah.
It might be the best codex of the edition because, man, how do you beat this? Like, how do you actually do better than like 8 relevant playable detachments in a codex that only has 8 detachments?
Yes.
It's wild to think that they had the power to do this all along. Frustrating even.
They put a lot of love into this book.
They did. You can feel the privilege. Sorry, I had to. Anyway, we're out of here. We're going to go record part 2. We're going to answer an absolute deluge of listener questions. If you want to get some of that goodness, come over and join us over at Art of War Down Under over on Patreon. And Quinton, where can people find you and some more of your goodness? Because you are just scratching the freaking surface.
I know. So I'm doing so much Eldar content over at Art of War 40K. You can check us out on YouTube. I just search Art of War 40K and we'll be the first one. There's a bunch of Eldar content there. You can also find us in the War Room. It's the warroom.bhx.tv. It's where we do the rest of our premium content. We do a bunch of games in there. The goal is by the end of February to have at least one game with every single attachment in this book out and watchable.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. On that note, we are out of here. Thank you so much, guys. Love you all, and see you on the other side.